Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Welcome to Mathematics Point. Hope so you are well. Students, today I'm here with the chapter 2, NSM1 D1, Integers, Rational Numbers and Real Numbers. That is the second chapter of your book. And we will do the Practice Now 3a. So the first question of Practice Now 3a is find the square root of 64. Students, if you watch the video of chapter 1 of this book, in which I will describe you that the sign of the square root is this, and this sign is always undo with the square. This sign undo each other. So in this question, we have to find the square root of 64. So first of all, they are asking about the square root. So we'll place the sign of square root, and this is the sign symbol of square root, and we want to find the square root of 64. Now, 64 is a perfect square. So we write down as 64 is the square of 8. If you recall your chapter 1 in which we have done the square table, we have learned that 64 is a perfect square of 8. So we write instead 8 square. Now this root sign and these two undo each other. Undo each other means they cancel each other. So they cut it down. When they solve each other, as we are solving square root, so we place the sign plus minus 8, because this root sign contains the sign plus and minus. Now the second part of the Practice Now 3a, find the negative square root of 9. So this square root contains the symbol plus and minus. Now they are talking about negative square root. Negative square roots mean minus square root sign. So we have to find the negative square root. First of all, negative means minus. Square root, place the symbol of square root, and square root of 9. So you have to write down 9. Now you have to observe that this minus sign is outside the square root, not inside the square root, because this root is negative square root. Now we solve this. 9 is the perfect square of 3. Now this root sign and 2 undo each other, and we got the answer minus 3. Now in the part C, evaluate square root 36. In this, they didn't demand us that you have to find the negative square root or rather the square root. Whenever they write down the statement evaluate square root, so you have to find just square root 36 is the square of 6. They undo the sign of each other, and we have to write down 6. When there is nothing demanded, you have to find the negative square root or rather the square root. So generally whenever we solve the square root, we just have to put the positive sign. When there is no sign, that means there is a positive sign. So no need to write the plus minus sign here. So it is all about your Practice Now 3a. Now we move towards the Practice Now 3b. Now we have the Practice Now 3b. Evaluate each of the following. Our first part is cube of minus 3. Now students, you have to notice that we have this cubic power outside the bracket. This means that this cube power is on minus as well as on 3. So whenever there is a odd power, 3 is an odd number. So whenever there is an odd power outside the bracket, so minus remains the same. Minus will minus, because 3 means that you have to multiply 3 times minus. So minus, minus, plus, and again plus, minus, minus. So whenever there is an odd sign or odd power outside the bracket, so that means the minus sign will remain the same. Now we have to solve this 3. 3 power 3 means that 3 is going to be multiplied 3 times. 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3, not 3 multiplied 3. So the number of times we have the power, that's in that number of times we have to multiply those terms. 3 3s are 9 and 9 3s are 27. So we have the answer minus 27. Now we will do the part B, in which we have bracket minus 4 cube, Again, we have a odd power. 3 is a odd, so this minus will remain the minus. As you multiply minus 3 times, we get the answer minus. Now 4 power 3 means 4, 3 times 4. 4 4s are 16 and 16 4s are 64. Now student, 4 power 3 does not mean that 4 multiplied by 3. It's wrong concept. You have to multiply this 4 3 times. So minus 64 is your answer. Now in part C, we have a cubic root of root 216. Now when a square root, this root sign have this power on this side 3, that means is a cube root. So 216 is a perfect cube of 6. If you recall the table that we have learned in the first chapter, cube table, so you know that 216 is a perfect cube of 3. Now this cube root and 3 undo each other. Undo each other means they have to cancel each other and we get the answer 6. Again, okay, now you observe that we have a minus sign inside a cube root. So I want to describe one thing here before solving the question. Whenever there is a minus sign under the square root, when there is no any power here, so that means it is a square root. Whenever there is a minus inside the square root, suppose I write minus a is any number, so this solution is not possible. So whenever there is a minus sign under the square root, so solution is not possible. But whenever there is a minus sign under the cube root, so solution is possible. Again, whenever there is a minus sign under the square root, solution is not possible. But whenever this minus sign is under the cube root, so solution is possible. Now we will move about our part D. We have a cube root of minus 8. As there is a minus sign inside the cube root, so solution is possible. We can solve it. So 8 is a perfect cube of 2. This cube root and cube undo each other and we get the answer minus 2. Now students, we will do the relevant question that is related to the exercise practice now 3a and 3b of exercise 2c. So I will do the question 3 that is similar to practice now 3a. Find the square root of each of the following. Now recall yours practice now. Whenever there is a word square root, you have to find the square root of that, and in the answer we have put the sign of plus and minus. So we'll find the square root of 81, and square root sign, this sign contains the sign plus and minus. So 81 is a perfect square of 9. Now this root sign and square power undo each other and we get the answer plus minus 9. Now move towards the part B. Square root of 16. Again, we have to place this root sign on 16 and this square root sign having two signs. Positive square root, basically we have positive square root and negative square root. So you can write this positive negative signs together. So positive negative square root. Now 16 is the perfect square of 4. Now this root square root sign and square undo each other and we get the answer plus minus 4. Again, square root of 25. You have positive square root and negative square root. You can put both signs together. Positive negative square root of 25. 25 is the perfect square of 5. And please students, kindly recall the table that we have learned, the square table and cube table in our chapter 1, and you also watched the video. I just put that video link in the description. So you recall the concept. This root sign and square undo each other, so we get the answer plus minus 5. Now part D, square root of 100. So square root of 100. 100 is the perfect square of 10. square and square root sign undo each other and we'll get the answer 10. This is all about the question 3. Now we'll move towards the question number 4 because that is similar your practice now 3a. Now question 4 is evaluate each of the following where possible. Now first part is square root 81. Now again students, we have the word evaluate, so we have to solve this square root. 81 is the perfect square of 9, so this square root and square undo each other and we could get the answer 9. Now there's no need to put the plus and minus sign. Why? So they are not talking about the negative square root, they are not talking about the square root. They just have to give you the answer, question, and they say ask that evaluate, solve the question as it that is given. Whenever the word square root comes, you have to solve the square root with the positive and negative square root. Whenever they ask about the negative square root, so you just have to put the negative sign at this question have the negative square root. But whenever they are using the word evaluate, so you have to square root. Normally as we have to solve whenever there is a square root question, we didn't need to put the minus sign, we just have to put or do the working with the positive sign, because when there is nothing sign, that's mean there is a positive sign. So you have the square root sign and there's no any sign, so there is a positive sign, you have to move with that. Now part B, again we have the square root 4, so there's nothing any sign, and that's mean there's a sign positive. So we have the square root, and 4 is the perfect square of 2 is the perfect square. This square and square root undo each other and get the answer 2. Now look at your part C. In part C you have the minus sign. There's no need to write the plus sign. Suppose we didn't write the square root as positive square root 81. This and this 81 are both are equal because there's no need to write the positive sign. So whenever we have the negative sign, so this is a negative square root, you have to solve this sign too. 9 is a perfect square, 3 is a perfect square of 9. No, we get the answer minus 3. Because this is a negative square root, you have to show that negative sign in your answer. Now look at the both of part C and D. In the part C, you have the minus sign outside the square root. So this solution is possible. When you look out the part D, now the minus sign is inside the square root. Whenever in the square root, minus sign inside the square root, so solution is not possible. So we just have to write then that solution is not possible. Because in the square root, whenever there is a minus sign inside the square root, solution is not possible. That is moved towards the iota, and that is related to the higher level, not in your level. So this is the question 3 and 4. Now question 5 is also similar to practice now. Oh, question 5 is related to practice now 5. Practice now 3b. So we'll do the question number 5. Now we have the question number 5. Evaluate each of the following. In the first part we have bracket minus 2 bracket closed whole cubed. That means this cubic power is on minus 2. Whenever there is a power, any power outside the bracket, that means all the terms that is inside the bracket, that power is applied on all of them. So whenever there is a odd power, so the sign will whenever there is a sign is negative, minus to minus sign will remain the same, because minus will have power 3. That means minus is multiplied 3 times. Minus multiplied by minus multiplied by minus. So minus minus in multiplication they become plus, and again this plus multiplied by when this minus, so plus minus minus. So that's why whenever there is a negative odd power, so sign minus sign will remain the same. Now you have the power 2 power 3. That means 3 times of 2. 2 power 3 means 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So 2 2s are 4. 4 2s are 8. So you have the answer minus 8. Now in part B we have minus 5 power 3. That's mean odd power, so minus sign will remain the same, and 5 power 3 means that 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5, 3 times of 5. So 5 fives are 25 and 25 fives are 125. Now part C, we have minus sign and there is 3 and 3 is odd. So whenever there is odd power, minus sign will remain the same. 10 power 3 means that 3 times 10. So 10 tens are 100 and 100 tens are 1000. So we have the answer 1000. Now move towards the part D. Again, minus 6 power 3 and 6 power 3 minus 6 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 6. So 6 6 are 36 and 36 6 are 216. So this is all with your part 5, in which we have to learn, okay, when there is a odd power, when there is a cube power after the bracket, so how we solve or how we do the calculation with the terms. Now students, we have the question number 6, and question number 6 is related to practice now 3b. Although I guess that is not included in your assignment, but when you do practice now 3b, so if you practice the relevant questions, so the concept that you learn will be more enforced. So it is necessary to practice more questions. So we move towards the question number 6, that is relevant to your practice 3b. First part is cube root 27. So 27 is the perfect cube of 3. Now 3, this cube root and 3 unto each other, you get the answer 3. Again, as you notice, that is a positive cube root. Now we have minus cube root of 64. That means it is a negative cube root. Now 64 is a cube of 4. This cube root and this cube sign undo each other, and again undo means that they cancel each other. They are the inverse sign. Now we get the answer minus this minus and 4. So it is the answer of minus negative cube root of 64. Now part C, we have a cube root of 8. So 8 is a perfect cube of 2. This cube root and 3 cube power undo each other, and we get the answer 2. Now we have a minus sign inside a cube root. If it will be a square root question, suppose I had this cube power, so it will become a square root, so its solution is not possible. But whenever there is a cube root, so whenever a minus sign inside a cube root, solution is possible. So you have to solve this. 216 is a cube of 6. Now this cube root and this cube sign undo each other, and you get the answer minus 6. So whenever we are working with the cube or cube root, so all the solutions are possible. There is only one category in the square whenever there's only one condition, whenever there is a minus sign inside the square root, so solution is not possible. But all the other cases with the square and cube root, solution is possible. So students, it is all about your question 3, 4, 5, 6 and you practice now 3A and 3B. Hope so that after watching the video, you have the clear concept about the question. But still, if there is any query, you have just put your query in the comment box and I will solve your query, inshallah. So take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.